Hello, guys, and welcome back to our online English class. And you already know your teacher. I am Christian. I will be talking with you today about embedded questions. Now, you might be wondering, what is embedded questions? Profe, ¿qué es eso? ¿Es como preguntas en una cama or algo así? No, no es. Embedded questions are questions that are uh, inside other questions or statements. The word embedded means to be placed inside of. So, as I said before, there are questions that are in other questions or statements. They actually function as noun clauses. Sometimes we begin our usual questions with WH words such as what, where, and when. For example, what time is it? Where are you? When are you coming back? With embedded questions, we have to change the position of the original question. If you look closely, you will see an example below where we put the original question at the end of the embedded question. What time is it? ¿Qué hora es? What time is it? That is the usual question. But with the embedded question, you will see that the verb to be is has been placed at the end of the question instead of before the subject. The words do you know, tu sabes, do you know, functions here as the noun clause. It is an incomplete question which actually needs the original question at the end to make it make more sense. I will tell you more about that soon. Okay, important. A normal question word order looks something like this. What time is it? If you notice, the verb to be is before the subject. ¿Qué hora es? What time is it? The embedded question in that question will cause both the subject and the verb to change their original position. Look carefully. Again, as I said earlier, the verb to be will now be at the end of the sentence. The verb will follow the subject. Also important, if the question has the verbs do, does, or did, you must remove these verbs when you are forming the embedded questions. For example, where did you buy that shoes? Where did you buy that shoes? The word did here is in past and the word buy, comprar, es en presente. In the embedded question, tenemos que cambiar. We have to change the verb did. We remove it completely and then we use the correct form of the verb buy in the past. So, where did you buy that shoes? In the embedded question, it would be, could you tell me where you bought that shoes? Notice that the word buy has been changed completely. The letters, the pronunciation has been changed completely because the word buy here is an irregular verb. Look closely that the word did is removed and instead of using did buy, remember that we changed the word completely to past simple. All right, important. Yes or no questions with embedded questions. This is very tricky. Profe, por qué, por qué, por qué? Yes, I know you have a lot of questions, but let's see if we can try to understand how to use yes or no questions in embedded question. All right, look at this example. Was Camila in class yesterday? Was Camila in class yesterday? Je ne sais. I don't know. So I'm asking you, was she in class yesterday? Sí or no? I don't remember if Camila was in class yesterday. This is an embedded form. I do not remember. Je ne recuerdo. Sí, ella. I don't remember if Camila was in class yesterday. Profe, why do we put if? We use if, or we can use whether, but if is more commonly used when we are referring to yes or no questions in embedded questions or statements. The example, if you look, you can see that the verb to be follows the subject in the embedded form. It is no longer at the beginning of the sentence. Look carefully. Was Camila. Verb to be, después Camila. In the embedded form, you have Camila y después tenemos el verb to be, was. Alright, these are some examples of embedded questions. I'm not going to go through all of them. You can pause the video to take a closer look at the examples, but let me choose about two of them. Let's see the first one. Do you know? Tu sabes. Do you know? That is an introductory question, question phrase. It comes at the beginning of an original sentence. Do you know? The common question or the original question would have been, when does the class start? When does the class begin, or when does the class start? The embedded question now would look something like this. Do you know? Tu sabes cuándo? Do you know when the class starts? Do you know when the class starts? Look carefully. The verb does, which is in the original question, is completely dismissed. We took it out, we omitted it completely. And so in the embedded question, we no longer have the verb does, right? However, we have the verb start, but in the same present tense, referring to one thing. Remember, we use, if we're referring to one thing, we always use the S with the verb. Tercera persona or algo, we put S. So, do you know? Tu sabes cuándo? When the class starts? Okay, let's select another one. Do you remember? Do you remember? Where is the restaurant? The original question would be, where is the restaurant? But to sound more polite, profe, ¿qué significa polite? Polite es como cortés. Yes, to sound more polite, to sound more natural, you could add an embedded question at the beginning of the original question and it would sound something like this. Do you remember where the restaurant is? You know, it sounds more natural and it sounds more polite. Let's move on. You can continue to look at the other examples and just continue to practice. All right, so embedded questions in statements. So we just did embedded questions in questions, and now we're going to look at embedded questions in statements. Pay close attention. There's some examples here. When you see the word introductory statements, the word introductory means that these questions come at the beginning of the original question, not after, not in the middle, but at the beginning. For example, I asked, I want to know, I don't know, je ne sais. The question is, la pregunta es, let's ask. Or these are just a few, and we put them at the beginning. If you look in the section to your right, the embedded question examples, they go like this. Let's choose one. I don't know who she is. Je ne sais quién es ella. Yes, I don't know who she is. The original question for this would be, who is she? ¿Quién es ella? Who is she? But to sound more polite again and to sound more natural, you say, I don't know. Je ne sais. I don't know who she is. Guys, please practice the other examples. And yes, let's move on. So first we did embedded questions in questions. Then we took a look at embedded questions in statements. And if you remember, our first session was about reported speech. So now we're going to look at embedded questions in reported speech. Let's look at the first question. When the class starts. Do you know when the class starts? Here we have Sandra speaking. Do you know when the class starts? So remember, guys, that with reported speech, we usually change the verb completely. Embedded question in reported speech would look something like this. Sandra asked whether or not, or remember that you can change the word whether and we can use the word if because it's more commonly used in the English language. Sandra asked if I knew when the class started. Look that the verb know has completely changed to knew. It is also an irregular verb, and we have changed the verb starts to started. Here, remember that reported speech is often or most times or all the time in the past tense. Okay, all right. There's some other examples. I'm gonna leave you to do to read them and to just familiarize yourself with embedded questions in reported speech. All right, quickly. Let's do a quick practice. Guys, I know that embedded question is not the easiest topic for you to understand. And I think it is even more challenging than reported speech. But as I always say to you, with time and practice, you will be able to master the challenge of these topics. So, guys, question. How would you change the following question to an embedded question? For example, when is your birthday? ¿Cuándo es? When is your birthday? This is an original WH question. I would, in order to change it to embedded question, I would put an introductory statement like, could you tell me? Could you tell me? ¿Qué significa could acá? Podría. Could you tell me when is your birthday? Don't I sound more natural and polite here? So your turn. Is she coming to class today? Is she coming to class today? How would you change this to embedded question? Okay, I trust that you got it correctly. Great job, guys. Continue to practice embedded questions. Below you'll see some review slides for reported speech, and at the end of the presentation I'm going to leave a glossary for you to practice some words that are often used or that are related to shopping. These are very important, and practice these common expressions, things that you normally say, or conversations that you'd have when you go into a shopping mall or supermarket or any place that you have to buy something. Let's look at the first one, just one. We are open from, let's say, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. This is a seller. Who is the seller and who is the customer? At the end of the slide, you will see that we have, here it is. You'll see that we have some words here. I would recommend that you use the word reference and not the translator to actually find the meaning of each of these words or any other word that you might need to find the meaning of. All right. So guys, continue to practice embedded questions. I know it's difficult, as I said before, but remember, any question you have, any doubts, send me an email. I am here for you, and I will help you as best and as quickly as possible. Don't forget to check the deadlines for your assignments, and we'll talk again in lesson 3. Bye.